The Knicks postgame show is presented by Tri-State Audi. Visit your Tri-State area Audi dealer today. Knicks and Pistons tonight. What a game. Jalen Brunson, 31 points, 19 in the fourth quarter. But Malik Beasley, who had 23 points here on December the 1st, hits 2 clutch threes in the final moments. He goes 6 of 8 from downtown, finishes with 22. Cade Cunningham goes for 36. And the Pistons win their second straight this year at MSG over the Knicks, 124 to 119. Great to have you with us. Bill Pidto here along with Wally Szczerbiak. So the Knicks midseason malaise continues. They've lost 5 out of 7, but we are officially at the halfway mark of the season. The Knicks are 26-15. That's 2 games better than they were through 41 games last season.
I'm not as concerned about this loss. Obviously, the Knicks defensively, they have to figure out a way to slow down teams. But this Detroit Pistons team came in here and they played a really good ball game. Cade Cunningham, he is a superstar in the making, the way he played. Malik Beasley, flat out can shoot the rock. 7 threes in their first meeting, 6 threes in this meeting. By the way, that's the most threes an opponent has ever hit in the regular season in 2 matchups at the world's most famous arena. So that's record-breaking stuff that Detroit Pistons had to do in order to pull off this victory. Overall, Brunson played great. Towns played great. I thought the bench was good. Campaign played very well off the bench, especially in the first half. That was a tough loss, but Detroit really earned this one.
Knicks dominated the second quarter, but Detroit won the first quarter. They won the third quarter, and they were key down the stretch. Detroit came into the fourth quarter, Wally, up 5, and they came through with the big shots with the game on the line.
And the Knicks, they also pushed the Pistons down the stretch of this game. There's Jalen Brunson getting that bucket. It was a 2-point game, but the shot making down the stretch. Marcus Sasser from Houston, used to making big plays and big shots, and then he finds Jalen Duren. It was a 7-point game at that point. Jalen Brunson going into his bag, gets that and 1 there. That cuts the lead to 2. But how about Cade Cunningham? Just every big shot down the stretch. The Knicks had no answer for him in the pick and roll. Extends that lead to 4. Josh Hart with the easy bucket. 2-point game here. Mikal Bridges cuts it to 1. How about Mikal Bridges breaking out of that shooting slump with 6 big threes? Can't leave this guy open, though. The Knicks should know that in rotations. Can't leave Malik Beasley. He's been on fire. That was a big bucket there by Jalen Brunson. Cut it again to 1, and then here's the backbreaker. Malik Beasley, big 3 with 5.9. That actually extended the lead to 5, and that was game, set, match right there. Well-played basketball game by both teams. Shooting was extraordinary, but the Pistons just a little bit better.
Hone in, everybody, on the bench points. Detroit 46 with Beasley going for 22, and Marcus Sasser had 7. They had 10 different players score, so all 5 bench players for the Pistons scored. That really helped Detroit, and you see the free throws pretty even except for the bench points, and the Knicks lose by the count of 124 to 119. Cade Cunningham. We've talked about him. I don't know if the whole country is aware of his elite talent.
Yeah.
This guy is a massive talent.
Yep.
Last game here for the Pistons, he had a triple-double, and 29 of his 36 came in the second half. And, you know, with down the stretch, you got to double them, and that leaves Beasley open, right? You have no choice.
It's just like Jalen Brunson. He demands the same type of attention that Jalen Brunson does at the end of the game. Because when you give him a pick and roll, he can get an advantage, find his shot, or if you don't do that, he's going to make a play for himself or someone else on his team. So he's the type of guy that is unguardable one-on-one, and those type of guys in the NBA are just stars. And I mean, he just gets into a rhythm. He can really shoot the 3 ball. I mean, he's got a sweet stroke at 4 for 8. And that size is what makes him so effective.
6'6".
Yep. He sees over the defense. He can take advantage of smaller defenders and mismatches. That was one where the Knicks actually got 2 hands on that ball and blocked it, but it still went in. That was a fortunate play. But you see how big he is and how he can finish over the bigs underneath the basket. I mean, he's just a great player, and you gotta shake your hand to greatness. He was great today here at the Garden. The Knicks stood toe-to-toe with him the whole entire game, made shots, made plays, and it came down to a couple calls down the stretch. I thought that tip call when Karl Anthony Towns tipped the ball and it was challenged. At first, the officials had it going to the Knicks. When you go back to the replay, that's a huge possession that flipped and went to the Pistons. And then the offensive foul call by Karl Anthony Towns when he set that screen, that was a 50-50 call. I thought it couldn't have been called, but at the same time, Karl Anthony Towns has to know in that situation, don't put the game in the hands of the officials. It could have been called, too. It couldn't have been called, or it could have been called. It was a 50-50 play. It was a whistle blown by Scott Foster, who's one of the best officials in the league, and that was a huge possession in this game.
All told, the Knicks had 17 turnovers. That obviously did not help the cause. You mentioned Mikal Bridges. A lot of the time he had to guard Cade Cunningham, and he still had the wherewithal to snap out of the shooting slump. He was 4 for his last 34 from 3, but tonight, Wally, 6 of 8 from downtown and had 27 points. It's amazing how he is so streaky. When he is on, he is on. He's
very on. Listen, it's a product of where his role is on this team. When he was the number 1 option on the Nets, he didn't go through streaks like this. He doesn't always get the touches that he was used to getting the last few years because he's the 3rd option behind Karl Anthony Towns and behind Jalen Brunson. So he's got to stay ready. And the thing about Mikal Bridges, when he makes one, that's all he needs to see. When you're a shooter, you see one go through the rim, and then it can be an avalanche where every shot goes in. And that's what happened for Mikal Bridges. You know, teams, like Monica always talks about how the ball finds energy, and when you hit one shot, you have the energy. And that's what's happened with Mikal Bridges. I have no worries about his game. He's a consistent defender every single night. The shot is going to be there. The Knicks just have to continue to make it a priority to get him touches and get him easy baskets, looks, so he can shoot himself into rhythm. That's going to be important for this team.
You know, I like what you said at the top. You can't necessarily, obviously, you're a Knicks fan, you play on the Knicks, you want to get a win, but it's not like you lost this one. Detroit.
The OKC one, problems.
Right.
Like, that was not good. That's not a good loss.
Detroit just beat them.
Detroit just beat him. You go back and watch this film. A lot of the rotations that the Knicks had, they were good rotations. The defense was there. The effort was there. It was just a really talented team that's playing at a high level earned this win.
Pistons now have 21 wins. Last year, we talked about it. They won only 14 games all of last season. They already have 21 wins. Monica McNutt now joins us. Help caller, the game on ESPN New York, the radio broadcast. Monica, what a game. What'd you think?
Man, it was a terrific game. That was a lot of fun until probably the last 2 minutes or so, right? Those 2 threes by Malik Beasley. Let's do this. I want to give the Pistons their props. Cade Cunningham loves playing at the Garden. And there were points, particularly in that fourth quarter. Guys, mind you, he came into the second half with 4 fouls. Tyler and I are discussing it, and I'm like, based on the physicality of this game, I imagine he's probably going to foul out. But credit to that young man, who indeed should be an all-star, for playing with only 2 fouls to go for an entire half and finishing. I didn't even look at his final line, but he had a fantastic night with 36 points. And so I'm going to give J.B. Bickerstaff and that squad a ton of credit. In terms of their matchup, and if you take away the history of where the Pistons have been, that's a tough matchup for the Knicks, and that's what we saw tonight.
Yeah, I'm with you, Monica. That's exactly what I thought. I didn't think the Knicks lost this game. I think the credit goes to the Pistons. They took this game. They made shots. They made plays. What about the shooting from Malik Beasley? I mean, he broke a record for an opponent in 2 games in a regular season, 13 threes. That guy was unbelievable.
40% on the year. He's having an outstanding year. I think the last time he was here, he hit 7 threes. His career high in a game is 11, and it certainly feels like if there was any extra time, he would have kept lighting it up. Those last 2 in particular, though, Wally, and the Knicks were in a difficult position defensively. They're trying to make Cade Cunningham uncomfortable. You send 2, and you have to rotate for your life. And Beasley responded each time. Beyond the threes, though, too, when he comes off screens and the way he's able to get into that jump shot so quickly, I think he put 2 fouls on 2 different Knicks doing that in the course of the ball game. So credit to him. Look, between Beasley and Harris, and I'd say Tim Hardaway Jr., the veterans that have been added to this young lineup, the Pistons are doing something.
Monica, good status check here. I mentioned with Wally, the Knicks now at the halfway point, 26-15. Despite the recent struggles, that's still 2 games better than they were in terms of the record through 41 games last season.
Yeah, I think a couple of things in this, let's just go this last 5 games or so that I have been glad to see. Little tweaks in the rotation to give guys a little bit more rest, which I think in the long run will be helpful. It was great tonight to see Mikal Bridges get back in action in terms of shooting the ball with efficiency. But beyond that, in the fourth, in the last 2 minutes, I thought Bridges played really good defense on Cunningham one-on-one. And Wally, as you know, just because you play good defense in this league doesn't mean you necessarily stop a guy. But I thought it was good to see him get back to some of that confidence on both sides of the floor late in this one. And so, listen, tonight you shot the 3-ball well. You got crushed in the paint, which is what this Pistons team has kind of been doing to power this turnaround, in addition to shooting the 3-ball so well through 39 games, looking to set a franchise record for them. But I think you keep pushing. You protect the games that are here the remainder of this month in January. You go to Philly, obviously, on Wednesday. And you got to survive in advance. Keep learning.
All right, Monica, we'll talk to you Wednesday night with the Knicks in Philadelphia. By the way, it's only one of 2 road games they're going to have this entire month of January. When we come back, we're going to have the MSG 150 and also the post-game comments from Knicks coach Tom Thibodeau. Tough loss for his crew, 124-119 to Detroit as the Pistons make the big shots down the stretch.
The Knicks post-game show is presented by Audi. Visit your Tri-State Audi dealer today.
2 clutch threes from Malik Beasley of the Pistons down the stretch, and Detroit beats the Knicks tonight, 124-119. Back now from the corner 3, presented by Michelob Ultra Superior Light Beer. Up next for the Knicks, they're going to be at Philly on Wednesday. Pre-game at 6:30, game at 7. It's the first of only 2 road games for the Knicks all month. Then on Friday night, Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo are in town as the Timberwolves come to New York to take on the Knicks. Time now to listen into the post-game comments from Knicks coach Tom Thibodeau, as always, presented by Chase.
I think, we had a chance. We had the offensive foul, then we came down, and, we were in a scramble situation, and, they got to go look at the 3.
Is that just because of all the attention kind of camera?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have a primary scorer. He had a terrific game. That's the way he's been playing. It puts a lot of stress on you, and everyone's got to be tied together. And and Beasley had a hot hand, and you got to be there on the catch.
Carl, any update on that?
Haven't gotten word from medical yet.
We keep bringing up the bench scoring, but when you're outscored 46-13 or whatever it was, how tough is this to win games like that?
Yeah, we got more than enough, So and we got to find a way to get that done. Again, it comes down to a 1-possession game basically, and we fell short. So we got to take a look at it, see what we could do better. And you continue to fight to win every possession in a game. You never know which possession it is that makes the difference. And so, get locked in, get ready for Philly.
What did you make of the disparity in the third quarter?
Yeah, you talk. What do you?
Just like the point, they outscored you by 9, I believe.
Yeah, well, they came out and they pushed the ball, and even though we have more free throws than they did, but you can't complain, or if you feel like they missed a call, if you jog back and you're talking to an official, it could be 3 points. I think that 36-37, in the third, that's too many points.
Tom, do you sense that the obviously you guys made such a big trade, 2 big trades during the offseason, training camp, whatever you want to call it. Do you still feel like in some ways that despite your reputation and this team's identity for the last couple of years, that you guys are still trying to find kind of what the root of this team is from a defensive standpoint? You guys can score with anybody, but it just felt like you couldn't really get enough stops here tonight.
Yeah, no, to answer your question, the thing is you have a challenge every night in this league. So you're playing a team that, is very hot right now. and they're shooting the ball really well. Cunningham's playing at a very high level, and credit to them, they're playing great basketball. And we're on a back-to-back, so just find a way to get it done. And it came down to getting one stop at the end, and initially we got it, but then our turnovers were too high tonight. That hurt us, and then we needed to stop it on the last play.
You had mentioned just kind of talking to the refs after their call, and then you get a good look on the other end. Josh had also said that he's got to be better with that. Is that something that you've seen that you'd like to see these guys nip in the bud a little bit?
Yeah, and in general, and look, it's a long season. No one's perfect, and it's the officials. It's a tough job, very tough. And so, but there's emotion in a game. There's frustration. So, but you also have to understand the pace that the game's being played at. You can't afford to complain. You can make a point on a dead ball to an official. They're usually pretty good with that. But if you're doing it and when the ball's live, now you're at a disadvantage down the other end, and it becomes 5-on-4, and it becomes an open three or a layup. And then in the end, maybe it's a one-possession game. You have 2 or 3 of those in the game. That could be the difference in winning and losing.
To piggyback off of Chris's question, just you mentioned before the game, this was game 41, so the exact midway point of the regular season. Just big picture, how would you evaluate just where you guys are at, and maybe kind of the
Well,
next
I think we're
priorities?
better than we were when we first started. The first month of the season, second month better, and then there's a long way to go, and that's why, like, I think from a mentality standpoint of focusing on daily improvement with the understanding that you want to be playing your best at the end, and there's a lot of challenges throughout the course of a season, so there's ups and downs, and you have to handle that. You got to get through things together. But you never can lose sight of how important it is to improve every day. And then hopefully in the end, you're playing your best basketball. So there's still a lot of things that we can do better and we have to lock into.
All right, Wally, we're exactly halfway through the season. The coach always talks about daily improvement. What needs to get better, you think?
I think it's the defensive end of the floor. Offensively, this team is loaded with talent. You have 2 all-stars in Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns. They can score the basketball whenever they want. I think they have to come together as a team and a unit and just be uncomfortable to play against. Remember last year's team. Last year's team was other teams did not want to come in here and play the Knicks because they were so physical. It was tough to score points. Every time you got an open look, you were thinking, when's my next open look going to come? Because I'm not going to get a lot of open looks. I think that's the one thing with as many good defenders as the Knicks supposedly have with OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, Deuce McBride's known for his defense. They need to, I just think, become a little bit more of an uncomfortable team to play against on that end of the floor.
Josh Hart absolutely makes things.
And Josh Hart on defense.
He's
a
been
great
fantastic.
defender.
He had another double-double. We'll get his post-game comments coming up. Hart tonight with 12 points and 14 rebounds. Stay with us.
The Knicks postgame show is presented by Audi. Visit your Tri-State Audi dealer today.
Welcome back, everyone. The Knicks at Philly on Wednesday, 6:30 pregame, game at 7. You can also stream our coverage on the Gotham Sports app. Knicks lose to Detroit tonight by 5. Here's postgame comments from Josh Hart.
Tight game, Josh. What do you think made the difference down the stretch in this game?
I don't know, they made plays at the end and we didn't. That's simple.
Energy level, second night of a back-to-back. You guys obviously, you're the grinders, play a ton of minutes. What's it like second night of a back-to-back?
We got to find a way to bring energy to execute. We can have all the excuses in the world. We got to go out there and play. We got to have a sense of urgency, attention to detail. Got to communicate better. These are the things that we got to start figuring out.
Josh, some of these things you bring up, you guys hit the halfway point tonight. Kind of, do you see it's still not there yet?
Yeah, obviously. We're losing, games I feel like we shouldn't be losing. So we got to figure it out. We're halfway, I think, into the season now at this point. So, nothing we can do about the first half now. Now all we got to do is focus on the second. But if we want to be the team that we want to be at the end of the year, we got to start correcting these.
First half of the season for Josh Hart could not have gone any better.
Career year.
His 20th double-double, as we showed of the season. So in half the games, basically, that he's played in, he's recorded a double-double.
Listen, he's having a career year. You got 2 bona fide All-Stars there. Might be starting on the Eastern Conference All-Star team. There are 3 guys that are having really good seasons. Knicks are 3rd in the East, so they're playing really good basketball. Overall, they got some things to work on, but they're in a good place, and they can definitely get better, especially with Tom Thibodeau pulling the strings.
Another great game for Jalen Brunson, 31 points, 11 assists. Knicks, however, come up short. We'll get Brunson's post-game comments after this. Knicks are on the road Wednesday at Philly. Pregame here at 6:30. Game at 7. Jalen Brunson tonight in the loss. 31 points, 11 assists. Here he is now after the game.
A tight game pretty much the whole way, Jalen. Anything in particular made the difference down the stretch in this one?
Turnovers. Obviously not getting to Beasley fast enough in rotation. But all things that we control. So it's tough.
The 2 late possessions defensively. I'm sure you didn't watch them again, but just on the floor, what did you see that kind of broke down there?
Me showing on Cade, and then I think the second time I stayed just to kind of get the ball out of his hands, and then once he got off the ball, things that we work on as a team, just being able to rotate, and we just didn't do it fast enough, and Beasley, who was shooting great all night, got 2 easy looks.
Pistons hitting the big shots down the stretch. Malik Beasley, 23 here in the first meeting and 22 tonight, including the 2 big ones down the stretch. Here's what's ahead for the Knicks. They're at Philly Wednesday. Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo come to town Friday. Monday afternoon at home against Atlanta, at Brooklyn, and then a little bit of a break before the Knicks host the Kings on the 25th. So we'll see you on Wednesday. Knicks in Philly, pregame at 6:30, game at 7. You can also stream our coverage on MSG Plus, now on the Gotham Sports app. Want more than just a postgame show? Link your eligible TV subscription to stream Knicks games free, or subscribe today in the Gotham Sports app. Just go to gothamsports.tv to learn more.